Today we're learning how to solve rational equations. A quick review. A rational equation is an equation in which one or more of the terms is a fraction. To solve rational equations, you need to multiply both sides of the equation by the common denominator. And most of the time in my notes, I abbreviate the least common denominator as LCD. By doing this, you're going to eliminate the denominators and turn the rational equation into a polynomial equation. And you can easily solve a polynomial equation, or you can easily solve that equation for the variables that are involved. So here are the steps typed out to solving a rational equation. Step 1 is to create one single fraction on each side of the equal sign. So this might mean that you need to add or subtract. Step 2 is to identify the LCD, or the lowest common denominator, of the entire equation. So you're looking for the lowest common denominator on both sides. So between the two sides, what can you come up with? Step 3 is to multiply each side of the equation by the LCD. Doing this will eliminate the denominator, meaning now we only have numerators and you can set your numerators equal to each other. Step 4 is to simplify those numerators, make sure they are always in standard form. Step 5 is to solve the resulting polynomial. And lastly, step 6 is to make sure that all solutions work. So we've done problems like this earlier in the year when you have to test your solution, make sure they all work. If they don't all work, then you have to get rid of them. In this case, you cannot have a 0 in the denominator. So when you test your solutions, if you end up with a 0 in the denominator, you need to eliminate that solution. You do not include it in the final answer. For number 1, we have x over x plus 3 is equal to 8 over x plus 6. So the first step in the directions is to make sure you have one single fraction on each side, which we do. So we can skip over the first step. But then we have to determine the common denominator between the two fractions. So I'm looking at these two denominators. They don't have anything in common. So the lowest common denominator between the two of them is going to be x plus 3 times x plus 6. Once you identify the lowest common denominator, you need to multiply both sides of the equation by that common denominator. So we're going to multiply the left side of the equation by x plus 3 times x plus 6. And we're going to do the same thing to the right side of the equation. The reason why we do this is because multiplying by the common denominator, technically it's a fraction over 1, but it also allows you to eliminate the denominator on each side. So on the left side, we can eliminate x plus 3, and on the right side, we can eliminate x plus 6. At this point, you need to multiply out your numerators to get them in standard form. The left side becomes x squared plus 6x, and the right side becomes 8x plus 24. Because we have an x squared term, the only thing we can do for solving is either use the quadratic formula or factoring. In this case, factoring will work, so I'm going to move everything to one side of the equal sign, set my equation equal to 0, and solve by factoring. This expression here would factor to x minus 6 times x plus 4. Once you have your factors, you can set each one equal to 0, giving you the solution of x equals positive 6 and x equals negative 4. Before we can say these are the final answers, we need to check and make sure that we don't have any extraneous solutions. In order to do that, you need to look at each solution and substitute it back into the original denominators. If either denominator simplifies to 0, then you would have to eliminate that solution. If we substitute 6 into the original equation, both denominators end up being a positive value, so 6 works. And if we substitute negative 4 into the original denominators, that also creates regular solutions. So negative 4 works as well. Once we know that both solutions work, we can list them, and I tend to list them from smallest to largest. In this case, your solutions are x equals negative 4 and positive 6. For number 2, we have x over x minus 3 plus x over x plus 3, and this is equal to 2 over x squared minus 9. So the first step in the directions above say to simplify to one equal or one term on each side of the equal sign. So I need to add my left side together. In order to do that, I'm going to have to create a common denominator between these two sides. And that common denominator is going to be created by multiplying each expression by the opposite denominator. So I'm going to multiply my first expression by x plus 3 in both the numerator and the denominator. And I'm going to multiply my second expression by x minus 3 in both the numerator and the denominator. Okay. So far, this is just on the left side of the equal sign. By doing this, I'm going to end up with a numerator for the first expression once I distribute that value of x as x squared plus 3x divided by my common denominator of x plus 3 times x minus 3. My second expression is going to be x squared minus 3x divided by x plus 3 times x minus 3. And this is equal to 2 over x squared minus 9. Now I'm going to add my numerators together on the left side, so I have one equal or one fraction on the left side of the equal sign. When I add these together, I end up with 2x squared. I have positive 3x and negative 3x, which is 0. So 2x squared divided by x plus 3 times x minus 3. And this is equal to 2 over x squared plus 9, minus 9. Now, if you recall, x squared minus 9, we've been factoring problems like this all year. This factors to x plus 3 times x minus 3. So coincidentally, the LCD is already created for us. The LCD is x plus 3 times x minus 3, which is the same thing as x squared minus 9. So knowing that the LCDs are exactly the same, or the denominators are exactly the same, you don't really have to do the step of writing out that you're multiplying by the denominators. Because these denominators are the same, you can essentially just eliminate them. But I'm going to write out all the steps just to show you, and then in the future, you don't have to do this. So if I multiply the top and bottom by both x plus 3 times x minus 3, I can see that this eliminates my denominator on the left side, and it also eliminates my denominator on the right side, leaving me with just 2x squared is equal to 2. And now I divide both sides by 2, and I have x squared is equal to 1. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. X is equal to positive or negative 1. Now, before I can confirm that this is my answer, I need to go back up to the original equation up here, and I need to check positive 1 and negative 1 in my denominators. So I have to think to myself, all right, does positive 1 create a 0 in any of those denominators? The answer would be no. Does negative 1 create a 0 in any of these denominators? The answer would also be no. So these expressions both work, and this is your final answer for this problem. Okay, please follow along as I complete the On Your Own section. I am not going to talk through my work, so if you have any questions, please let me know, and have a great day.